everybody knows the man behind the mask when he wears it is Glenn Jacobs. And I've known Glenn for 20 years now. He was recommended to me in Smoky Mountain Wrestling by Dutch Mantell because Dutch was booking Puerto Rico and Dutch and I used to speak. And Dutch called up one day and said, I got this kid. He's going to be great. And he's almost 7 feet tall and he's 300 and some pounds and he's fucking cut and built. And he's been working down here and he's a great kid, but he wants to go home, because everybody sooner or later, anybody in Puerto Rico in that territory will burn out and have to get out of there, right? So I said, well, I'm looking for talent and tell him he's booked in Knoxville for Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And he became Unabomb. And we've talked about originally it was supposed to be Eddie Gilbert as his partner, and then it became Al Snow, and that's how Al got his break. But Glenn is a great guy. He moved to East Tennessee to work for me, and I think he still lives there to this day. It's been 20 years. He met a nice girl down there, and I think they live in. Well, I'm not gonna narrow down where they live because it's a small enough town. You could probably knock on every door, and after 3 or 4 doors, you'd find Glenn. But
or just walk into town and say, "Has anybody seen the 7-foot tall fellow?"
Yeah, has anybody seen a 7-foot guy? Chances are that's him. But I love Glenn. Was always a pleasure to work with, a pleasure to be around. He always tried his hardest. I can't say enough glowing things about him as a young guy in Smoky Mountain. He did what he was told. He worked to the best of his ability. I was able to book the match between him and The Undertaker in Knoxville, and I think that's where Taker went back because Taker was always looking for opponents he could draw money with, and the size was almost identical. Glenn was a little bit more, jacked up than Taker was, and he went back and plugged him to Vince. Of course, Vince brought him up, arranged it with me, but he gave him the evil dentist gimmick, and that was fucking rotten. And he gave him the goddamn fake Diesel gimmick, and that was fucking rotten. And this goes to show you where their mindset was at the time. They were on the verge of firing him because, he doesn't have the killer instinct. He doesn't really want to get. I said, he's been a fucking evil dentist and somebody else's gimmick. Give him a chance to be himself, to do something that hadn't been done before, that that nobody's ever seen or whatever. And then the Undertaker's brother spot came up, and he was given that, and he took it and ran with it. And he's never been a problem to work with. He's always been a pleasure. And to this day, he's worked for the WWF since 1995. That's 19 going on 20 years, and most people don't make it that long, either in the ring or out. And it's a credit to him and the fact that he's a level-headed guy and he doesn't cause problems. There's never an issue with Kane behind the scenes. He's never making headlines in the wrong way. And he's always gone out of his way to help younger guys. I mean, Jesus Christ, what else can I say? Good, just good. I love some Glenn Jacobs. He's been a major star. He's been one of the 7-figure club guys up there for I don't know how long that makes more than $1 million a year. He's not stupid with his money. I'm sure he's set. He loves wrestling, and I'm proud to have played a small part in helping further his career.
And the little bits that I know about him outside of wrestling is I've watched many of his libertarian economics lectures because I was curious. It's not something I agree with, but I wanted to see what he had to say. He's an incredibly thoughtful, well-spoken guy.
Yeah, and I don't know that much about the libertarians, to be honest with you, because they're sort of still on the fringe. We all know Republicans suck donkey ass. I like the Democrats because they seem to be the most reasonable, rational people. I haven't talked politics with Glenn because I haven't been around him in a number of years, but he's a good guy and he probably has reasons for his beliefs. If they differ from mine, he's somebody that I could sit down and talk to. And one of these days when he's not working anymore for the evil empire, we'll have him here on the program and we'll sit down and talk about our earnest differences and issues and similarities and etc. But
just ask him about Austrian economics. He can go for 2 hours.
There you go. And that's something I ain't going to try. I'll let you know.